today's episode is a great one. Why? Because Hert's here. You know, we talk about everything. We talk about, obviously, the old times, nostalgia of Hoonigan, what he's up to now, a little bit of everything in between. And because he's Hert, I give him shit, he gives me shit. We break each other's balls. It's a fantastic episode. Enjoy. All right, I'm gonna just start. I'm supposed to make notes on all of these episodes, and yours is blank because I wasn't really sure if you were gonna show up.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, but I also you were kind of like last minute because you got to add.
Yeah.
But I just do have like one really important question. Do you miss me?
Well, like what? In what way?
I love that needs a caveat. Yeah. You're like,
in what way are we talking?
It's an open question for you to answer.
There are things about you. There's
a couple things.
Yeah, there's some things about you that I miss.
Does your life feel more free without? You seem
no, because now I have employees and they think I'm you. So
I enjoy this.
So I mean, like you could look at it two ways. Either you were either one of the best or one of the worst things to ever happen to me.
Yeah, I'll take one of the best. I got a little secret to share, and that's I like talking a lot and for long periods of time. Unfortunately, a lot of people know my secret, including my friends over at Vyper Industrial, who said, you guys need stools that you can sit on for hours. They made us these really rad stools. They're robust, but they did them custom. It says 3-2-1 action, the seat, really nice brown leather. These things are great, and you can modify them. We're going to do the adjustable back. We've already added the pneumatics. I mean, who doesn't love a stool that's probably built better than your car and has just as many mods? And if you're sitting home right now, listening to this in your garage, probably by yourself, check out your seating arrangement and question to yourself, do you deserve better? Because right now, there's a holiday deal going on. Go check it out, vyperindustrial.com. That's Vyper with a Y. At SEMA this year, I hit up the Toyo Tread Pass, which is the best collection of builds at the show, period. And while I went there initially to see the cars, I was really stoked to see that they'll be releasing a brand new tire that I know is going to make you track rats happy. It's the Proxys Sport R, a new extreme performance track day tire, and it checks that 200 treadwear box. Those of you who actually race your cars know why that matters. This super grippy tire is set to drop next year, coming in over 50 sizes, covering 13 to 21 inch wheels. Well, that's right. Whether you drive a Mark 1 Rabbit or a GT3 RS, the Sport R will fit the bill. And as you know, I've rocked Toyos forever. I got them on all my cars and trucks. Typically on set, I can't wear sunglasses. Why? Because I'm often looking at a screen. And a lot of times it's hard to really see what's going on if my lenses are too dark. But Heatwave fixed that problem. These new photochromics, they adjust from almost clear to a pretty dark tint depending on the sun, which is great because when I was in Australia filming Gymkhana, it was one really bright, especially in the Outback. And there's also a ton of flies out there. These prevented them from getting into my eyes. I don't actually understand how the technology works. They told me it's wizardry. I believe them. You should too. You should also get yourself a pair. And if you have an extra large head, they fit pretty nicely. All right, so like to rewind for everyone. So you actually, and this is kind of interesting because you left Hoonigan before what is now sort of known as the mass exodus. Everyone's sort of, but you, in standard Hert fashion, forgot to tell people you left. So you left to go do the TV show with Hot Wheels, right? And you know, in the background, and like I knew that all the Nappy Boy stuff was there, and you had this great opportunity, so you left early. Yeah, but then you didn't tell anyone. You didn't you recorded a video that you probably sat on for like 7 months.
I did.
By the way, how is Unpros Part 2, season finale Part 2 coming? Are you almost done with that?
You know, actually, yeah, me and Rob have been working on it.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, Rob and I are working on it.
Inside joke. They released a season finale of Unpros in 2 parts, and they never released the second part. This is like 10 years ago now.
But yeah, no, I never really looked at it that way. That that I forgot to tell people, because I was just doing.
Yeah, you're doing your thing. You're
doing,
like living in Manchester for months,
and yeah. So everything happened at Hoonigan.
But you were like, it's funny because I want to let you know that people who are sort of inside the Hoonigan group think that it was planned.
Yeah,
because you announced, and then I announced, then Vinny, then Ron, then Zach, and it was like it all fell in order.
Yeah,
and you jumped us all on it. You announced they were like just as long as you guys don't just wait till after SEMA to say you're leaving, and you were like the week before SEMA, I'm out.
But
and it started you were like I had to be first.
I had zero conversation with you, Vin, Ron, anyone at Hoonigan, no conversation whatsoever. I was like, oh, I should probably release this video because
I'm going to SEMA and it makes sense.
And I'm doing my own thing and So I was like, yeah, drop it. And then I come to find out that everyone had theirs planned, and it looked like we did a group walkout.
Like it was a big group chat.
But I had quit a year before already. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man. How's life now?
It's good, man.
You seem to be driving a lot. You somehow accomplished the thing that all of us told you wasn't possible at Hoonigan. Because you're like, I just want to drive and not do everything else. And it seems like from the outside, that's what it looks like, that you're actually getting in all of the driving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely driving a lot more than I ever really got the opportunity to. I mean, it's just the culmination of a lot of things. I remember a lot of our early days, startup, Hoonigan vibes, going to Formula D events, setting up booths and stuff. And I'm essentially following that model, but at grassroots events. Mm-hmm. So grid lives and things like that, things that we can also participate in as drivers while selling merch and making content and whatever like that. So that has given me the opportunity to kind of stretch my legs a little more and get some seat time. And I mean, you know me, I love driving. So I'm definitely not mad at it.
It's crazy because I was thinking about this the other day. You remember Bash Bangers?
Yeah.
So that was maybe the second year that you were at Hoonigan, or maybe the first year?
I think that was the first year. I think we kind of just
because when you talk about grassroots, I feel like
because it was 2013 for sure. That was 2013.
Yeah, and that was us trying to pay attention to grassroots because FD was still really big, and I felt had a big shadow on everything else in drifting. And it was the bashes were starting to grow, and obviously East Coast Bash was big, and then there was all the other ones, right? There was All Star and then No Star and all of them. And it's funny because I think about it, there's so many people that I met just by going to one or two of them with you that are still very much ended up becoming big people in sort of the space, Ilya, for example, and Simba and people like that who I met, or what's his face now Nick, it's these are all people who now have a big part to do with drifting today, but they were all just these grassroots dudes back then.
Yeah, just in their little corner building up their area and contributing to the building blocks of what drifting is. Bash Bangers, Formula D was super important for us. I mean, we had a lot of awesome drivers between Turk and Forsberg and all these guys bridging the gap on their end of missile cars and fast cars. And being a part of that and working with those guys and going to East Coast Bash with them and just doing fun stuff with them was a huge part of what I was already doing. So it was cool to tap that in. But going to do the Bash Bangers tour and I always loved. I mean, I'm a grassroots baby, so any opportunity to tell that story and prop drifting up on that side, up on a pedestal, was always exciting to me. It's always interesting because Formula D was actually such a big part of my life. Going to Formula D and filming with my friends who were drivers there and just capturing chaotic content was such a huge part of my story. Getting to Hoonigan and starting that new journey, it was interesting when it stopped, when Hoonigan was we're not doing Formula D anymore, and I felt lost, because that was such a big part of my story. But then after the first event, I was like, oh, I guess I could do other stuff, and,
right,
and then really started opening doors mentally and pulling gates back and allowing me to do other stuff. But
I think that was a major pivot for us, though. I mean, I think there was this moment where I remember we went to an FD event, and I was like, it grossed me out how many people were wearing Hoonigan shirts, which is like a weird thing to say as like the owner of the company, but to be like, shit, like we've hit saturation way too quickly. Like half of the people here are wearing Hoonigan.
it was nuts.
And then it was like, maybe we need to like not focus on this as much. Like we're already here. We could desaturate a little bit, and we put some time into other spaces, did some off-road stuff, did some muscle car stuff. But that all was sort of the path to what ended up becoming, I think, probably the thing that inadvertently was probably the most important thing for most of your guys' careers. I don't know mine, but for you guys, which was Daily Transmission, right? Because I think Daily Transmission took this shift and went from like, we were behind the scenes, we were helping guys like Turk and Forsberg become, bigger names or do whatever. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, now you're going to be the name. And like Vinny's going to be the name. And like, that was like a major shift for us that I definitely don't think that was in my head early on. Like we were making small little pieces of content like Smoke Break and things like that, the original shop. Like we always were doing that, but we weren't leaning into the characters of like the people who worked there beyond just like, hey, this is Hert. Hert has a cool car. Like this is Scotto. Scotto has a cool car. But like we weren't really big upping ourselves.
I remember we were grossed out by vlogging. And vlogging was, the idea of it just we didn't understand it. And I mean, maybe that's a strong word. I don't know what it was, but we were just like, yeah, we don't really want to do that. And then, we started just, I guess just doing fun stuff at the shop.
We just kind of created our own version of it.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, well,
hybrid.
I think we were looking at it wrong. We don't have to do this person's version or that person's version or that person's
do our
version.
own thing.
We just do, there's nothing wrong with documenting your fun and sharing that with the world. And that when I think we all realized that changed a lot for us.
Yeah. So now, and like, because I don't want to I did an episode with Vinny and Ron. We spent a lot of time kind of down memory lane. I don't want this whole podcast to just be like, remember when we were cool back then? Because you're still cool and you're doing actually cooler shit now.
See, that's something that he's always been good at. It's like, you're doing stuff. I'm working on a movie, but you're
a rapper. You are a rapper. I can go on Spotify and I can listen to you. And I think you kind of killed Payne on that track. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Doing one song doesn't make you a rapper. But you got to think about it, right? First off, shout out T-Pain. That dude is awesome. I can't really put into words how I would never expect somebody like him to be as down to earth and humble as they are, absolutely. And it's been a mind-blowing experience to work with somebody like that, but also genuinely become friends with after I was that person for Halloween in 2009.
So
I mean, like our entire early 20s was T-Pain coded, So yeah, shout out to him. But I feel like anyone in that situation should rise to the occasion when you have someone like that saying, hey, I have an idea for a song. Let's do a song. We do a song. You're going to be on the song. I was like, what? And then like,
were you nervous about that?
So I have this thing that I've been doing. Like, I don't let nervousness stop you from doing something, right? Because the way I look at it is I could go in and be nervous and do a bad job, or I can go in and not be nervous and still do a bad job. Mm-hmm. And, it's so no point in feeling a certain way. Just go in and do it and have fun. You know what I mean? So I wasn't nervous. I definitely was just like, fuck it. I have to do this,
So I'm going to draw a parallel and stop me if it's not a parallel that makes sense for you. But I feel like in a lot of ways, what Ken was to me seems to be what T-Pain is for you, right? And I only you realize like through all this, I only met T-Pain once. And I feel like it was almost like it was weird. Like you didn't want to introduce your ex-girlfriend to your new girlfriend or like whatever. Like, but we got to go.
As long as you're the girlfriend.
Yeah. I'm gonna text Payne about that. We'll see. We'll see about that. But like, we went, we had dinner, and I walked out of that and I texted you and I was like, man, I'm really like, I'm not just proud of you, but I'm also like, I'm stoked for you. Like, cause I could see the relationship that you guys have. And it was similar in my relationship with Ken. And the one thing that was really interesting with Ken was not a core car guy to start. right? So he trusted me. There was an element of like, you know this, tell me what to do, right? Ken knew marketing, Ken knew culture, but he didn't really know the car stuff, you know? And it was like, there was certain stuff. I mean, he learned it as the time went on, but he wasn't like you and I where we like lived and breathed it every day. Yeah. Like Ken's feed on Instagram was like snowboarding and furniture and like some race stuff. Like he wasn't in it the same way that we were. And because of that, like I was there to help fill in some of those spaces. But at the same time, I whenever I talk about Ken and my relationship with him, one of the things that always comes up is like, dude just made me feel like capable of things I didn't think I was capable of. Yeah. Right. And I think like when I see you go and try to rap, I'm like, yo, Payne got that same confidence drug that he could be like, here, you go do this, like you got this. And like it seems like you're kind of like stepping into that and owning that.
Yeah, no, I mean there's definitely a lot of parallels, cannot deny that. Just the timing and life and the way that it's happening and the way that it's going, and one of Payne's biggest things is really just like, hey, I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, so it doesn't work, like you do it. Doesn't work, then what happens? You know, right? You go on to the next thing. Like, don't let a thought like that stop you from trying something that could work as well. As much as it might not work, it could work and change things, change the entire landscape. So there's definitely a lot of that going on. Just taking unknown steps, and the result is the result. So
yeah. So let me ask you, I'm going to take notes on this. So how did you figure out how to be sort of in my position at Nappy Boy, but still drive and have fun? Because I was never able to figure that out. The most driving I did was after I gave my notice at Hoonigan, and then I was able to eke out a few track days.
I mean, I think just coming into it the way that I was, right? I think, I mean, I can't tell your story, but I mean, you've always been the, like, in the war zone, gut of it, just the wild man.
Yeah, so it's like I enjoy the trenches.
I came in. I mean, I think what the defining factor is, I came in and I taught my business partner how to drift cars.
Right.
And so that gave me the key to unlock the door. Yeah. And continue to do that. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think it boils down to just, cause like, things like I never asked you, I never knew what the goal was for Hoonigan. I never asked you what the goal was. I never asked you what you and Ken had in mind for it. I just, loved the feeling and everything. And I was ride or die, like just from our experiences before, like my experiences with Drift Alliance and building a friendship with them and making content with them, that led into like that night at SEMA, the night, the night at SEMA.
You mean the one where we almost got into a fight with that bouncer at the Falcon party? Sorry, Nick.
Hey, shout out Falcon. Yeah. One of my sponsors. I love you guys. It's funny how that.
By the way, this is brought to you by Toyo Tires. Hey, but friends got friends.
Yeah, friends got friends. But just the way that, like, our story built, and I, obviously with Jim Kana and all the stuff he was doing. Yep. Just I had nothing but respect for you guys. So I was like, they say we're gonna build this brand. All right, let's go build this brand. You know? It was just, and it was a pretty just undeniable, thing for me.
It's funny when you talk about goals, because like I think a lot about it's hard not to think about like Hoonigan and did we always take the right path. And a lot of people after everything happened would come up to me and be like, man, like I'm so sorry. And I'm like, man, we were here for a good time, not a long time. Yeah, like it worked. Like it worked when it worked, and when it worked, it was great. Yeah, and like everyone kind of got out unscathed. We're all still friends, which is cool. And like I think a lot of people did get to a point where it was like, ugh. But like like everyone in the end, like whether it's like Soupy, like everybody kind of like figured it out in the end. I think like we were all just stressed in a bad situation, and then we all I think came out better from it. But going back to like your question of like what like what was the goal? I think the goal was always moving, which was like the fun, but also the scary part, right? Like the idea that the goalpost constantly shifted. In the beginning, the goal was like, can we make this work? Right? Like, is this working? And then once it started working, it was like, okay, how much more can we make this work? And then I think it got to a point where the goal was like, we are becoming a juggernaut. Like, how big can this become? And that was really good, I think, until the goal became, can we sell this? And like, it was always the goal. Like, it was, I mean, when Ken, did the original deal with me, it was like, we're going to build this company, we're going to do this, and we're either going to license it or sell it within 5 years. It took us 12 or 13 years to sell it. So it took a lot longer, but we also grew it into something I think way bigger than Ken and I initially thought. Ken saw it very much in the beginning as just a clothing company. I mean, he saw it as metal militia for cars.
Sure.
Right? Like, how do you create this cool brand? And then you have a licensing company, deal with it all. And like, you just do the content and the marketing around it all. But then the content became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden, like, half of the employees at Hoonigan became these personalities and became a part of it. And then I think it was just like, how big, what can we do? What else can we take on? And that was like really fun for a while. And then all of a sudden one day it wasn't. I think like one day it just got to a point where like we were growing for the sake of growing, not because it was like the stuff we all wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think like you got to be, it's interesting you say you didn't feel like you knew what the goal was, but I definitely think you were in the inside circle of like what we were always trying to do. And I had never been in a company like that before. Like the first time I was doing it was with Hoonigan. I didn't know. And, and I think the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about Hoonigan, which is weird, but it is like Ken didn't work in the building.
Yeah.
Like Ken wasn't there. Like he was in Utah. He was running his own race program. He was doing his own thing. There was a lot of stuff that like, I was like, man, I don't know how to do this. We're just going to figure this out. We're just going to do this on our own. And it wasn't really until YouTube became successful that I think Ken was like, what are you guys doing with the YouTube thing? Because he was always the one, like Gymkhana and all that stuff was where the money was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden YouTube started to crack. And then he was like, oh, maybe I should have a YouTube channel too, because we were out there just testing it and trying it out. But I to turn this kind of back around to you, like, do you feel like, in a way, you could kind of take your experience at Hoonigan and let it either be like, I don't want to say cautionary tale, because I think there's a lot of amazing stuff we did at Hoonigan, and it's unfortunate that it ended sort of in the way that it did, but it was always going to. It's like your favorite band always breaks up in the end.
Sure.
Like if your favorite band never stops touring, they're probably not your favorite band anymore. Like there's something about that like magic that I always compare us to Jackass, because I think it's like the same thing. Like there's a window of time where like it all works, but you got like a front row seat to all of that, and now you're getting to do it again. Like, is there like, does that change your perspective on how you do it now?
I mean, I think there are definitely some lessons.
By the way, I didn't think this was going to be a business conversation. I wanted to make this a conversation about style.
Yeah,
but we'll get back to that.
My time at Hoonigan was interesting because naturally, I on the spot, if someone asked me, name 5 things that you learned at Hoonigan or that you learned working with Brian Scotto. And honestly, I might not be able to rip it off the top of my head. But if you come in with a specific question about something and then I find myself rambling and I'm like, oh, that's one of the things that I learned, You
learned how to hide cars from your wife. Let's just be honest, bro.
No, I don't. You're
like, she might listen to this, dude.
I mean, this is kind of a wild take now. It must be my aging or whatever, or just my ability to destroy. But I don't get the same joy from having as many cars as I have right now that I used to.
Vinny just brought this up. Yeah. Vinny was like, hoarding cars is not as cool as it once was.
Yeah,
we made it cool during COVID, and it's not cool anymore.
It doesn't feel the same, and now I'm struggling to pick some cars to relinquish.
What do you think the right number is? I want to bring us back to the business side.
I'd say 4.
4?
Yeah, I think 4 is a good number.
I think like for normal people, 3. Like what I call the 3-car solution. And like, here's how that works for me. Because I know everyone loves the 2-car. 2-car is ridiculous. You just 3 cars simple. A pickup truck that's a crew cab.
I wasn't
a pickup truck that's a crew cab so that you can tow stuff, whatever. But it's a nice enough pickup truck that you can also take it to dinner. Right. So like it could be your family vehicle, like a Raptor or something like that.
No, I definitely think we differ there, because I only see those as tools. I don't look at trucks and like think about.
I get that, but you can use it if you need to.
Yeah,
like a Raptor is nice enough that if your friend's getting married and you drove to the wedding in the Raptor, it's acceptable.
It's respected.
It's fine, right?
Yeah.
Then I think you need a project car, that like it runs, it doesn't run, whatever it is, and then you need another. And this is what has changed in my life now. Is you need another fun car that kind of always runs. So my RS2 is that car. So like no matter what everything else isn't working, like when I get in the RS2, it reminds me I still like cars and gives me a reason to keep working on my car. Because there was a period of time where the only thing I was driving was church van, and that was like pre 700 horsepower. Yeah, it's got 700 horsepower now. If you want some of that,
and it's slower than the GS. The GS makes 800. So if you want these problems,
I got all-wheel drive. You want to run on that?
You want these problems? You can have them.
We could bring back that. We can make that versus this. Bro, it's a whole new show.
I'd be willing for all of us, you, me, Vin, Ron, Zach. I'd be willing for all of us to pick a location and meet up and race.
All right, it's on. It's on. You want? No, let's do it.
I'm dead serious.
Is it call out style, or you just bring your fastest?
Run
whatever?
what you brung. Everyone gets fucking smoked. All right.
Yeah. What do you bring?
Everyone gets smoked.
You finally gave me a reason to finish my coupe.
Everyone gets smoked.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm on. Let's do it. We'll call everybody else afterwards and get everybody
I'll pay
on
for it and we'll put it on Nappy Boy.
All right, whatever. We'll get that done. All right. So
I don't even know where we were.
I don't even know where we were. No, but I was saying, like, I was sitting there driving like a stock van every day, and I like stopped liking cars.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't driving anything fun. So I feel like that's like a good 3 car. But then I think for people like us, I think probably 10's the right number.
10?
I'm at 25. That's like more than 50% reduction.
You own 25 vehicles at this moment, now?
Sitting on the property right now.
At the farm?
No, right here.
Here.
This property. The 911, the Ferrari, the Rabbit was in the driveway. The Disco is in the backyard. The RS2 is parked out on the street. The B150 is out on the street right now.
What the hell's a B150?
That's the Mexican Ford truck.
That truck.
Yeah. And the van is parked in front, and then my wife's LR4. That's just here.
How many of these cars run out of 25?
If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said all of them. 3 cars broke last week.
Out of the 25?
Oh, no. I mean, the ones here.
Okay.
The ones because all these are kind of runners because they're at the house.
I know. I know you're naturally going to list the good ones first.
I've got like 5 cars that just probably will never run, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Because like I'm just kind of holding them because I know at some point I won't be able to afford them. It's kind of like the FDR X7 was for you.
So I got to the point where, I used to say I have 12 cars. Now I just say 8 because 4 of them are that.
So you try not to count them.
Yeah, just because like, I mean, they count, but when I talk about them, I don't bring them up really,
Yeah.
Just because it's just like, oh yeah, I have this RX-7 that's one day going to be something, and then this other RX-7 that's one day going to be something, and then this other RX-7.
How's it feel to lie to yourself?
They're gonna be something. All right, you understand. You definitely of all people understand.
So my list of 25.
10 is aggressive.
I think 10, if like you work in the business, you make content, you need to be able to rotate through things. People get bored of stuff. Or you could be like Vinny and not hold on to have commitment issues and not hold on to anything.
Right. I mean, that works out great for his business, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's awesome to see.
When he's starting a dealership, so like his whole new business now is buy a car, use it in content, fix it up, do whatever, enjoy it for like 3 to 4 months, and then sell it. And then move on.
I mean, that's what Drivers Era was supposed to be, right?
It is again.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay.
That's kind of.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. Him and Ron actually split. Ron's now doing anti-lag, which is like a rally car inspired thing because it was more what he cared about.
Yeah.
And Vinny wanted to do more of the dealership thing, so he's doing that with Drivers Era. So
yeah.
But. Okay, so 4 cars. So let's play this game. Name your 4 cars. So you only have 4 cars. Name your 4 cars.
4 cars. My GS 300.
Yeah, 4-door. My favorite of yours.
4 doors, built motor, 3.2 liter stroker, 800 horsepower on low boost. So like when I see you, I can turn it up. AC. Put my family in it. Go wherever. I could drive it across the country. It looks good as hell. It's a great car.
Yep.
And I can drift it.
Yep.
That's a Swiss Army.
It's an all-around car.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
And I can drag race and smoke all my friends.
That's kind of, I guess, what the RS2 is for me. Obviously, it's not, I don't really, it being able or need to drift is not a priority for me.
Yeah, but it serves
if
your
it
purpose.
could use a little bit more power, like for me, I think a 500 to 600 horsepower RS2 would be perfect.
Yeah.
And I want the air conditioning to work because it doesn't right now.
Yeah. That was a non-negotiable. There's some local guys, Heat Lightning Speed Shop. They specialize in GSs.
Oh, nice.
And I was just so fed up with the car. I found them, and That was my only non-negotiable.
Well, that's because you're 40 now, right? Is there a mic issue here? Yeah, you're 40 now, right? Because when you're 40 is when you need air conditioning.
I'm in my 30s.
Late.
I'm in my 30s.
You're in your late 30s.
I am in my 30s.
I think you're in your late 30s because
there is no 4 in front of my.
So 35
age.
is mid 30s. 37 would be mid late 30s. 38, which is what I think you are, would make you late 30s.
What's this podcast called?
Over 40. I only bring on guests who are over 40. Yeah.
I thought it was
it's called Very Old.
I thought it was called Pushing 50.
No,
no, let's stay. Look, I'm in my 30s. Anyway, GS, I explained that. That car is fantastic, right? My GTR R32, kind of the same vibe as the GS.
Yep.
It's a coupe, but you can still put fam in the back, AC.
Collector car, too.
All-wheel drive collector car, and that, just that boxy era is me. You know, FCs are my favorite car. The R32 is the same idea with that, right? That's
you like 944s too, right?
I'm better than 911s actually.
Oh, well played. Have you been holding that one for a few years? That was nice.
You inspired it. You
keep going. So you like boxy cars?
So R32 GTR, same thing. You know, you can have power, all-wheel drive, super fun handling, AC car that you can take anywhere with anyone, right? So those are like the two Swiss armies that are super fun. Then the Corolla. It's
which one?
The Beams one.
Okay.
The 11. Yeah. So hatchback 11, 300 horsepower, naturally aspirated Hasselgren engineering built Beams, 10,000 RPM, all the good sounds, all the good feels, all the good handling, no AC, very raw, and can grip and drift, right? And I mean that's a fall street car too, you know. And then the fourth car is like the full race car, RX-7 4-rotor, fully caged, sequential.
Okay, I like this list, but there's like zero practicality here. Because one, there's no truck in the list, and is that because you're just including work trucks?
But see, that's what I was saying. Is like you and I see trucks differently. I just see them as tools, so I don't. You
don't even.
That's not even on my. Yeah, right, it's just it's a tool that you use to go to the thing. But yeah.
And what's Raquel driving right now?
She's got a.
She still got the Lexus, or
no? We leased a 2024 Toyo ride while we figure out what.
Oh hell yeah!
What we want.
Those are kind of nice.
Yeah, they are super
really
nice. They're super nice.
Yeah, they are. Whenever I see them drive by, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
it looks really
it's
good.
not bad.
Yeah.
And the lease was so cheap. I was like, why not, right?
Okay, so 4+ truck.
4+ truck.
4+ truck.
Now, I might be wrong because, like, I love having cars.
So you're saying there's no FD in your list anymore? So
I could sell that car.
You could?
I could sell that car.
Okay.
Yeah, I could sell that car. It's definitely, I've thought about it. I could sell that car.
And if I had to break down to 4, I think I would do, obviously, the 911. That's like the forever car. My RS2. I guess my Rabbit, which is weird, but I just love that thing. And do I get 4+1 because of the truck thing?
Sure.
All right, the van's the +1.
Yeah. See,
I guess the Nova.
All right, yeah.
Because that would keep it like as varied as possible. Like,
so that's the thing. Right?
I've got my all-wheel drive car. But then it's a bummer because that keeps me no track cars. But whatever.
I feel like 4 is a sweet list, but I don't know if it's possible. I don't have 4 cars. I have more than 4 cars. You know?
Yeah,
and I do like the FD sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not driving it in the summer. It doesn't have AC. I'm not gonna touch it. You know.
Yeah, we definitely sound like addicts talking about how we ain't gonna get high tomorrow. While we're still high right now.
But currently, so torqued, fully torqued. I've got the GS, the R32, the Corolla, the other Corolla, Torque Stallion, FD, JZX 100.
How you had that?
240.
Remember that time I smoked you in my 200 in your JZX? Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to remind you. I brought it up in the last podcast. So
it's automatic and naturally aspirated. It's not don't worry. We will meet again. So that's a I think that's all of them. I have a 350Z. I don't really talk about.
You have a 350Z?
Yeah, I haven't showed it to anyone.
Oh.
It's just not.
Secret car.
Yeah, it's just a.
Secret cars are nice.
Just a pilo. It's just a beater.
You don't have that Cressida anymore.
No, I gave that away. I gave that to a chair slayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I just was like, I mean, I didn't even take money. I paid for that car. I bought it from Ron. And I gave it to chair slayer. No one would buy it. I lost. No one would buy it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I love having cars. I love experiencing different cars. Like one thing, all my cars, none of them have the same engine.
Right.
Because I almost did multi-swap a couple cars, but then I was like, then it's just going to
What's the fun of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I love experiencing different things. I mean, I think the Vinny route is super cool because he gets to experience it, build it how he wants to, and then flip it, and it all just pays for itself, And that's just a brilliant way to go about being a car enthusiast. I think.
Yeah.
Where
doesn't work for me, but I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm stuck in a hole of breaking the same shit over.
Yeah. But it seems like for the first time ever, you've got a bunch of working machines.
Yeah, I mean, starting this journey with Nappy Boy Automotive and T-Pain, we've got a John. Someone who's in the shop all the time, making sure everything is good to go.
And they're working on your cars. Not like you. It's not like you're building.
No, we're not building anyone
projects
else's
or
cars. We're keeping our ship running, for our events and stuff. Yeah. And then, when something new comes in for ourselves.
Yep.
I mean,
because that's the part no one understood at Hoonigan was that all the people who worked at Hoonigan when we were there to work on cars were working on project cars that belonged to the company that were like funding our content.
Yeah.
But all our personal cars, we pretty much all worked on our own, which is why it was always such a disaster.
It definitely added stress to what we were doing, but yeah. So I'm in a ship now where, it definitely you definitely find a disconnect when you're completely not touching your stuff, And I'm gonna start breaking that disconnect,
Yeah.
Just being more active in the shop and just I don't know. I think being in the shop and being immersed helps everything else. It keeps your mind creatively thinking about what's next or what should we do with this or that and la. So I think that helped us out a lot at Hoonigan because we were really active in the shop at Hoonigan.
I mean, that was like the peak era. I remember. Do you remember this when the first time you were working on your LS FC
and
I came over
Santa Fe?
Yeah, I came over and I don't even think it was a video era. I think I was just taking photos.
Dude, we didn't record anything there.
No, I was just taking photos.
It actually blows my mind that we have like no
There's
video
very little,
from that time. And that was one of the sickest times.
Yeah.
And we can't even go, I've tried to go on Facebook.
And try to find it.
Facebook won't load that far back. Like it just struggles to load anything that far back.
Most people don't even realize that time existed.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Pre-Donut Garage, so pre-Long Beach.
This is just
downtown
Facebook.
LA.
Instagram, Facebook.
Grimy.
Yeah.
Remember when the vagrants jumped over the fence and cut the wiring harness out of Ashley's car and then stole our barbecues and they like hoisted them like over a 20-foot fence?
Dude.
Remember the door wouldn't close?
What was his name? Was it Ernie? Was it Ernie?
Yeah, Ernie.
Yeah.
I still got, it's funny you mentioned that because I just found photos of Ernie the other day.
Do you want to,
Ernie was the best.
You know what's crazy? Julio. You remember Julio?
Of course I remember Julio.
Bro, Julio ended up outside my shop in Long Beach.
What?
Right before I left, I saw Julio. And I was like, Julio? And he was like, oh, what's up, man? And he was just outside my shop in Long Beach.
So quick Julio story. Julio was a vagrant who lived near 621 Long Beach office, right? Donut Garage. And he would, if you just caught him off by himself, he was always like kind of loudly talking to himself or kind of yelling. He definitely presented as the kind of vagrant, right? Like, or whatever you want to call him, unhoused, whatever, person you did not want to be near.
Yeah.
But if you called him by name, it would like break the spell.
Yeah.
And he would then become like this super mild manner, really, really nice guy.
Yeah.
And it was like 2:30 in the morning one night, and I had just retimed the disco. I was driving home because remember I used to always stay at the shop super late and work on stuff. I had just timed the disco, and I'm driving home, and I'm leaving the shop, and I close the gate, and I'm going around the corner underneath the bridge, and the Rover breaks, and I'm like, God damn it! It's like 2:30 in the morning. Like I have no way to tow it back to the shop. Like I'm by myself, and I'm trying to like push this thing back to the shop, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just hear get in, get in, get in, get in. And I'm like, what? And it's Julio. He comes running up. He's like, you steer, I push. And this dude pushed me. I don't want to say crackhead energy because I don't know if he had crack. I don't think he was. I think he was just unfortunately had mental health issues. Yeah. But this man pushed this disco at like 20 miles an hour. Like he got us like into, I mean, I was waiting for him to push us up the ramp. It was like incredible strength. Dude. I was like, Julio, you saved me. Like, thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I saw you break down. I came running out to help you. I'm like, this dude's the best. Yeah. And like Ernie was the same way. Yeah. No. Remember those dudes were trying to break into the shop?
Yeah, and he stopped them.
Because we used to always, remember you guys used to call me the vagrant whisperer. Do you remember that? Because I would talk to all the vagrants.
I think you named yourself that, and we just.
I thought it was someone else, but whatever. I'll take it. Do you remember the other dude, the white dude, who
the bike? He had the bike with the trailer.
Yeah, he showed up at the shop. The cops came that time.
Arrested and leave his stuff at our shop.
Well, he would get arrested so that he could spend the winter in get three hots and a cot in the warm weather, and then he would get out like later in the year, and he would come and leave his bike. Yeah, and the police would show up, and they would like is Brian Scotto here? And I always thought I'd be in trouble, and then it would just be like, we've got this guy's bike. He said he can leave it here. Do you remember? Because that was before we had the bakery. So we put it in there. And remember, like we didn't open the door for like 6 months. We had no air conditioning. We opened the door, and it was just the worst funky smell ever. So
that guy.
Yeah. Anyway, the vagrants. The vagrants are the best part.
Yeah. No, I ran into Julio outside my shop, and I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, I was like, you need anything? I got drinks, whatever. And I gave him some stuff. But it was I don't know.
There was another guy who actually I saw. Do you remember the dude who used to hang out at the gas station he used to hang out at the gas station on 7th and Magnolia? Did you ever go there? And he would always wash your windows for you. But he was really, 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 really nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. I know exactly what guy.
I ran into him like, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago at another gas station on another side of Long Beach. And I saw him and I was like, and I kind of looked at him and he looked at me and he's like, where's the Porsche? I was like, oh man, it's you. I actually went and bought him lunch because I was just like, I was just chatting him up. I was like, how you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, he was always an interesting story for me because he seemed like all there, and always was like kind of well put together and like seemed clean. And I hate to say that, but a lot of the other guys who live by the river did never seem clean. But like, and I could never tell, like, are you just hanging out? Like, do you just like being in the gas station or like what's going on? But I was just talking to him. It was Anyway, this storytime interruption brought to you by our good friends at FCP Euro. So I have an affliction. I like really unreliable European cars. It almost seems the more unreliable it is, the more I lust after it. So of course, the car I'm talking about right now is my 2002 D2 SE. This is probably one of the most unreliable cars Audi's ever built, but it is so magnificent during its fleeting moments of reliability. Luckily, a lot of the things you need for this car, I can get at FCP Euro. Let me tell you a little story. It's been running great. It's been just fantastic. Aside from all the lights on the dash. But it's been great. Then I opened the door and there was this smell. It smelled like a gym bag. And it shouldn't smell like a gym bag. That car actually smells pretty good. Real leather. But it smelled horrible. And I realized all that rain we got, it definitely flooded. And when I say flooded, not the normal kind of flooding. This is like water coming out of the air vents level flooding. And that also means water going into the fuse panel, which meant that a few relays might have shorted, as well as a bunch of other things that got corroded. Hit up FCP Euro, had them out to me in a day. This is what's great about them. They enable really bad decisions with European cars. I mean, they are like class 1 enabler, because if I couldn't get those parts as quickly as I do, I don't think any of my cars would run. Maybe some of the old Fords. Anyway, FCP Euro, thank you very much. And if you have similar habits, maybe you too should try FCPEuro.com. So anyway, back to the business side of things. How's all that going? What's it like to have?
Oh, right.
What's it like to have?
Wow, that was a gnarly tangent.
Yeah, we tangent like that. I mean, it's kind of expected with the two of us.
Yeah.
So what is it like to now be in a position where daily you want to text me, "I'm sorry"? Like, what does that feel like? Because I got to see that moment. We were at LZ Fest, and I got to see you being boss man. and seeing like you dealing with everybody. And I have not had that level of joy outside of maybe the birth of my son.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And like a few of my cars started.
That's up there.
In a long time, where I just got to sit there and I got to watch you have that moment. And I remember Ken used to, whenever I would be talking to him, I'd be like, I had that long sigh, and he would be like, when I met you, you didn't have that sigh. Yeah. He's like, you developed that sigh. And he enjoyed it because he remembers those days at DC. And, he was removed from the day-to-day at Hoonigan, so he didn't have to deal with the day-to-day bullshit. And now I get to watch you do it. And I used to look at Ken and be like, what kind of fucking mean asshole are you that you enjoy the demise of my soul? Like my soul is leaking out of me. And now I get to see it happen to you. And I understand. No. I understand it from Ken.
You want to know what's actually hilarious about this story? Is I remember that there would be days where I'm like, fuck Brian. Like, why is he this way? Why does he act like this? Why does he do this stuff? And then I spent a weekend with you and Ken. And then I was like, oh, he does it to him, and then he does it to me.
Shit downstream, my friend. Shit downstream.
I remember having that realization. I was like, oh, it's literally just the trickle down. This is, some business class will teach me this, I think,
Trickle down economics, kid.
I remember having that realization, and then I saw everything a little different. I was like, I handled things a little differently. But I mean, if I had to apply anything from my time at Hoonigan to what I'm doing now, I don't know how Ken was when it came to just like setting goals and dreaming big and like just wanted to hit a home run every time or whatever, But I like the natural progression that Hoonigan had, from the Santa Fe days that no one really ever saw, and like the grunt work we had to do then, and that led to the Donut Garage, and then the grunt work we had to do there that led to just becoming the YouTube channel and the legacy name that we did. Because no matter what anyone says, or how they felt about the brand, like we are stamped.
For sure.
That sensor bar logo, absolutely stamped.
There's an era for it.
And so if any lesson that I try to apply is to like do the grunt work, like grind. Don't try to jump ahead with some home run idea, because and I'm not against of course, the jumps and like trying big things and stuff like that. But I also understand like going to these grassroots events and like being a part of the community, which is stuff I'm going to do anyway. And just the natural progression and growth of our name and who we are in the space, and building that trust with the community and stuff like that, that nothing at Hoonigan works without that.
Yeah. Let me ask you. I'm going to say this. It's not a knock at you. You went from being like the young kid in drifting who was stoked that Chris Forsberg ran a beard life sticker on his car, right? And like you were this young guy, and now like you are an elder in the drift community. You're not the eldest, but you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like you're no longer one of the new jacks. Do you think about that much? Because like, look, there's like the old timers like Tanner Faust and like, even before that, Tony Angelo, Chris Forsberg, like some of the OGs for American drifting. But like when I was at LZ Fest, I couldn't help but think like, man, there's so many like new young kids that like I don't even really think of them as part of drifting, but they are. But like I don't think about it because I'm still stuck in an era where like you were part of the new generation of drifting, and like now you're old.
Yeah, I mean my story. That's crazy. That's nice slip in there. But
no, but you're an elder, and
I
mean that.
I 100%
all jokes
accept
aside,
that.
You are a veteran.
I 100% accept
now,
that.
And it's like it's a different position for where you are.
Well, no, I do accept that, and I do see it. I am aware of it, right? Yeah. Because like when I started, I was young shithead, FCRX7, slammed KFs, BN, V8. Half of grassroots drifting hated V8s. Yeah. And I was like, nah, fuck you guys. This is cool. You know,
you had a Steve Austin zip tied to your intake. Like
it's still there.
Sick.
Yeah. But I lived through that, and it was fun to be a part of that, and you know, try to help bring grassroots to another level and all that stuff. And like, I'm definitely fully self-aware that, one, I'm not that guy anymore, and two, I am an elder. There are 15-year-olds drifting coming up to me. I've been watching you since I was 8 years old, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, that's cool. Don't tell anyone else that. You know, it's crazy. But it's like, you know, I went from participating in Final Bout and like doing everything I can to you know, drift with Drifting Animal Style and go to Final Bout and try to win. And now I'm very happy just judging it. You know, like I'm happy showing up and judging it and seeing cool cars and being a part of the community. And like, as I'm judging 150 cars or whatever it is, half the kids are in their early 20s, you know, and it's just like, wow, I remember this moment. Like I remember the grind to get to this moment, and it's cool to see that still happening and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm fully aware.
So here's a like, because I wonder, because I think about this a lot, because as you kindly point out, like I'm
pushing
approaching
50.
Oh fuck,
pushing 50.
Yes, I'm pushing 50.
It's the name of the podcast. That's a great name for a podcast.
Anyway, yeah, I'm 45, so 50 is around the corner. God, that's scary to even think about. But like, I still actually have a hard time not thinking about myself as like the outsider underdog in the space. Like when I started at 0 to 60, I was the New Yorker running a car mag in New York. I wasn't part of like the automotive elite. And then even like when we started Hoonigan, you know, there was all this others, like we weren't Motor Trend. And then all of a sudden one day we were on top and I didn't like it anymore. Like I enjoyed punching up, right? Like I enjoyed being the scrappy ones who were like trying to like to set a name, the ones who were DIY because we had to be. And you know, and I like that punk rock element.
Yeah, it went from why are they here to, oh, they're here.
Right. Yeah. And I enjoy, or why are they not here?
Right.
You know, I think that's actually went from why are they here to why aren't they here? And then the expectation of us, where like the first time we went and did Power Tour, the first time we went and did, you know, Baja, like, you know, all these different things where people are like, what are they doing here? You know? And then it became, you know, there's still to this day, I think about this all the time. It's one of the things I'm probably most proud of, is that you could talk to guys in desert racing and the only people they know in drifting are people who were a part of Hoonigan.
Right.
Like that was their lens and their vision into drifting. And they think it's cool because the attachment to like what we showed them. They weren't going to watch it on their own. Sure. They don't follow the same accounts we do. They were just at it for that. But I think now it's interesting because I personally have a hard time separating that. Like I will talk to people and I'm not, you know, people will give me like a certain level of praise of like, oh man, everything, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, I still don't think that way. Like I don't look at the body of work that we did, and when I don't think about it, like I just like making stuff, and we did this thing, and it always felt, and you were there, it always felt scrappy. There was like maybe a year or two that didn't feel scrappy, where like we were getting really good breakfast and lunch and all that, and that was probably not the best time actually. Yeah. I think the scrappy era was when it was better. Yeah. I think the question is like, how does that role feel different for you, right? Like you went from being just Hert of Beard Life to then like Hert of Hoonigan, and we're very much seen as like the sort of this big personality, right? Like no one's going to deny you were outside of Ken, you were the biggest personality at Hoonigan, right? I would say it was you and then probably Vinny, right? And like, you know, you became so recognizable for that. And then you leave that, and now you're doing this other thing where like you're kind of a little bit in the background of like T-Pain. Yeah. In some ways. And it's funny because I see that and it's like, man, there's so many similarities between like what I was dealing with Ken. But then you also have this crew of people. You have way more responsibility on all that kind of stuff. But there's also this element of like, yeah, you've been doing this for 10 plus years, 12, 15 years. Like, Unpros was so long ago, man.
So long ago.
It was a decade ago. A decade.
Sometimes I watch it and I'm like, definitely can't make the show again.
No. Oh, that one part. Oh. Don't watch that. Don't cancel anything.
Definitely can't make that show.
Wow, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
That was first episode or second episode or whatever?
I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, dude, so much has changed. And that like whole thing with it's natural progression, right? Like how you say is like Ken, me, Vin, whatever. None of us we were just having fun. And the community built us. Without them, we're nothing. Without them taking our content and like putting us on pedestals or whatever, and we're nothing. And it's always interesting to me, people who were casually looking at Hoonigan, like maybe didn't watch the content, but saw the Instagram or whatever. And, you know, it's like they don't understand that Hoonigan was in half. Half was Ken, the other half was us. And like, you can ask this half of the community and they'll say no Ken. And you'll ask this half of the community and they'll say no to those guys, you know? Yeah. So it's all just like a natural progression thing. And the same thing with Payne, right? I feel great trying to put him in a position to thrive in the automotive space because just like I'm sure you experienced with Ken, mega rich guy comes in, can buy whatever he wants, do whatever he wants. People aren't going to take him seriously, you know? And so I am actually really enjoying telling the story and showing that this dude really loves this and wants to be a part of this and wants to do the grunt work to get to the to be on your level and you know, and earn your respect. So that's what you're seeing really, you know, because like, I mean, like you said, we've done this so long, and have made videos about ourselves and and this and that, and it's like I want to do this first, and then you know we can start doing more together.
Do you sort of enjoy a little bit of the feeling like maybe there isn't much pressure on you anymore? Because like I got to live these two different lives at Hoonigan, and I got to live this life with Ken when I went and did the Gymkhana stuff, and I was very much guy behind the guy. And then I got to live this life of like in the early days, I stayed behind and kind of let you guys ride. And then eventually, like, and it's really all your fault because I think about it like the Carcane intervention episode that you and like Vinny thought up, like you really kind of pushed on that. Like that, I think cracked an audience for me where people were like, oh, I get this guy now. Where like before, I think my character was like, he's the boss. Like what's going on with him? Like he's kind of an asshole because I just had like a New York, you know, sense of humor.
Well, you just popped in.
People didn't, I just popped in and just ripped you guys and it was whatever. And then like, I think that kind of brought me out. But then all of a sudden, like it was these two worlds. One was I'm sitting there making content. I'm thinking about like, this character of who I am. Not that that's not who I am, but like, you know, you lean into your stereotyped and your character elements. Like, although I do own 25 cars and only half run, but, and maybe I just bought into that a little bit more, but it's interesting now because like, is it weird for you to, and I don't mean weird as a negative thing, but is it weird for you to go to an event and, you know, and in some ways kind of like have T-Pain take front and center? Or is it also kind of nice? Like, does it relieve a little bit from you? Because I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but I know that fame has been a very double-edged sword for you. And you and I used to joke about us that we were coach class famous, which meant that even though we were famous, we still had to fly coach everywhere.
Dude, it's like I hate like when people say you're famous and like you're a celebrity and this and that, because like we're not. We genuinely are not. Do we have fans? Sure. Yeah. And do they recognize us? Sure. And you know, you know, I always tell, because people will come up and ask for a picture or whatever it is, or just want to talk, and they always apologize. And I'm like, hey, without you, I don't have any of this. Yeah. Like, don't apologize. You know, it's no big deal. But at the same time, there's always a lingering feeling like I'm at Disney with my family and I'm taking pictures and I don't make enough money.
Yeah, no,
it's like
I get it.
I don't make enough money to be this recognizable. You know what I mean? It's like, so that part was always weird. That part was definitely always weird. But when it comes to events and like T-Pain, it's
he's a different level celebrity, and the closest I can get to that is like spending time with Sung Kang. Where like I am in Manchester when we were out there for the episode with you on Hot Wheels, and I'm out in town, like outside of a restaurant, and every single person who walks by recognizes.
Yeah,
like it is like he cannot.
It's nuts.
He cannot exist in the real world.
Yeah,
which is a different level of crazy.
It is actually crazy, and like I don't feel any pressure or anything. Right? It's like I know what to expect when I come to events. I know the same amount of people are going to come and say hi.
Like in terms of celebrity, we dealt with like Ken celebrity, which really seemed big to us at the time.
Yeah,
but like
I'll never
T-Pain
forget. Sorry to
is on a
interrupt you.
whole
I gotta
level.
interrupt you.
Please tell me you're going to talk about the In-N-Out moment.
No,
where
that's
they walked
hilarious.
past Ken to
Please.
get your autograph. I thought
stop.
Ken's insides were going to fall out of him.
Please stop. that was crazy for sure.
That was like early shit car days where like we were first getting some traction.
But also Ken without a hat. He's incognito.
He was hiding.
Yeah.
Well, they asked him he pulled out a marker. I got to tell the story. Yeah, I got to. This kid was working the drive-through line. He was the guy asking you at In-N-Out what you wanted. He ran from the line over and came up to us and said, I'm so sorry. I just really want to get an autograph. And Ken pulled out a Sharpie, and he said, thanks. And he took the marker from Ken and handed it to Hert and asked Hert for an autograph. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic moment. It was a fantastic moment because one, it was a humbling that I think Ken was not expecting at the moment, but it was real proof to Ken that the thing we were doing on YouTube mattered.
Yeah.
And it was the first moment to go, there's views, there's all of this, but like this is something we didn't understand.
This is off the internet.
Yeah. And you're right. He wasn't wearing his hat, so maybe they didn't recognize him. So what was the other moment?
WRC Mexico 2013.
Wild. Pandemonium.
Pandemonium. Like Ken's celebrity there was insane.
Yeah.
All I remember is family throwing their kid over the fence to send to Ken to get an autograph because he wasn't doing autographs. Yeah. So they threw their kid over the railing.
When we say kid, like 4-year-old.
Yeah. No, a toddler, a little baby.
Yeah.
They threw the kid over with stuff for Ken to sign, and Ken signed it, but it's just like, that's...
Well, they used to bring in like the riot police to hold the crowd back because they would push so hard to get autographs.
Yeah, so that was a gnarly witnessing of celebrity. And like, obviously T-Pain has been T-Pain for...
And the closest I've gotten to that is spending time with Sun Kang, where like no matter where he goes, it's like he is recognized.
Yeah.
Either they know exactly who he is, or they have to ask him who he is.
Yeah, they can feel. They can feel
that like this guy is somebody, and it happens whether we're at a restaurant, in an airport, and like that's just a whole different level of celebrity.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said about
we're like famous adjacent. Like we're not really famous because like, it's weird when people say that to me. I don't think of myself as famous. I'm recognizable to a group of nerds who are no better than me. My fan base is as important as I am. We like the same shit.
I think the best way
their
to put
cars
it,
run more than mine do. That's all.
I think the best way to put it is people intentionally know T-Pain, Sun King, Ken Block. They accidentally know us.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they accidentally. Oh, I accidentally saw a video with you in it.
Yeah,
but it's like I was saying about Pain.
We're algorithmically famous,
right?
It's not because of us.
Yeah, we got served. You didn't look for me.
Yeah, you got served us. Yeah, they're like, you're not really a fan. You're not a fan of us. You are.
We sued you with your view.
Yeah. You're actually a victim. We have a bunch of victims. You have been victimized by the algorithm, and because of that, me and Hert.
It's nuts, man. Because those guys are all super famous, and that I don't think you were there when we met Pain at the Burnyard.
I was there when Payne was there, but I was super busy and I was like running past, so I didn't really get a chance to chat with him.
So, Danny Neville brings Payne to the Burnyard. Danny Neville's he's a driver, but also a famous DJ in the UAE, worldwide actually, but super cool dude. And we'd cross paths when Rob and I went to Abu Dhabi with Sultan, and Sultan introduced us to him. And then fast forward, he hits me up, hey, I'm with Payne. He wants to do some stuff. Come on by. And when Payne met me, he was excited to meet me.
That's a trip.
It was crazy. I was like, is this? Like I sometimes I start to think I'm fabricating the story, but like I remember.
It's okay. I like it. It works.
We'll
polish a little bit together.
He was super excited to meet me. He called his wife. I'm with her. La la la. Like this. He was excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What is this life? What are we doing to where this guy knows who I am?
Yeah.
And where I was him for Halloween many years ago, right? So,
By the way, do you wish you looked a little bit less like him?
I don't think I look anything like him.
I'm just saying that because I know you get.
Yeah, I know. Right? So that's where this story is going to lead into, right? So it's like working with Payne has been amazing, and he puts me on a pedestal, and like his favorite story. It's funny that you said that about Ken, but his favorite story to tell is like, Hert's the only person that somebody's handed me the camera to take a picture for. You know what I mean? And that's just it's crazy. So it's like he actually puts me on a higher level than him at automotive events. You know, he's like, in the auto space, you're the guy.
Because he feels that you have more authenticity than he does in the space.
I mean, he's new, you know, ish.
Of course.
And like in the direct space, he's had cars, like Ken had cars, you know, la. But
we shot him for Rides magazine when I was
yeah. So I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel any type of way. I just wish people would pay more attention to, because like I do have, you know, a pretty awesome group of supporters that come and see me at events and stuff like that. But if Payne's people know he's at an event but don't see him, I'm Payne. You know, like I at Grid Life not too long ago, I did a meet and greet, and 30% of the line thought I was Payne.
Telling what songs they loved.
Yeah, no, seriously, because I don't, you know, when you meet people, it's just a casual conversation. Oh, I love what you do. Thank you so much. That's awesome. My dad loves I'm in love with a stripper.
Yeah. Look at it this way. At least they confuse you for Payne. I get confused for Vinny. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Oh,
like,
that's
people will just be like, yo, like, what's up with the whatever? And I'll be like, wait. You think I'm Vinny? It's like crazy. I get it. Interchangeable white dudes with beards.
Yeah, but cool. You're not like, the way that I take it is you're not actually a fan of this person. You know?
Yeah, it's the adjacency.
Yeah, you don't actually care about this person if you think I'm him or you're Vin. Like, it's very clear.
Do you think the fan word is a weird word for us?
I don't like saying fan.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, I don't like saying fan.
And it's weird because we used to call it like viewers or the audience. It was always a weird thing in Hoonigan. Like, I never wanted to say fans or followers. Like, followers sounds even more cultish. Although I will admit, I think maybe like I still think a cult is in my future. Like, I feel like I could pull that off.
I mean, you did.
Yeah, I think a cult is still. I think I could still do that.
Hoonigan is a fucking cult, bro.
It certainly was.
Hey, I mean, not that like you could have talked us through the shittiest points in life. Like you did a great job leading.
I'll admit now, I was talking myself through it, and you guys were just hearing me talking.
We
out
eventually
loud.
caught on, and that's when things started getting weird. You know,
you're like, yo, he's not even talking to us; he's actually talking to himself. We should leave.
Yeah. There was, you know, you could for sure have a cult. For sure.
Good, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I want to work on it. I feel like it's the next chapter. Yeah. I think that's where I go next.
It starts with your Patreon people.
Yeah. No, the cult. I don't even know what that cult is, but it'll be interesting. So.
Oh my god.
No, man. I'm stoked to see what you guys are doing and like kind of putting together. It's you know, it's so interesting to me because I feel like in some ways, like your next chapter feels like the chapter I just went through, and it's cool that you've got someone like Payne who gives you that confidence. There's a quick little like Ken story I want to tell, when Ken did this to me, I realized how important it was. We would walk into meetings, and this was early on. And we'd walk into a meeting, and the meeting would start, and like, you know, it'd be like Ford executives. So you have like the top people at Ford there. You know, it's like early on. There's like 6 or 7 people in the room, or Castrol, or whoever, you know, whatever tire company, Pirelli. And we would start the meeting, and he would like interrupt everyone and be like, "Oh, hold on one second," because everyone would just glaze, like they would just like gloss right over me, like, "Oh, I'm like his bag boy, right? Like, who's the guy who's with him, or I'm the friend, or I'm the agent, or whatever." And Ken would just just completely pedestal me. He would just be like, this dude is everything. Like, I listen to him about it. Like, he basically would put me in a place where it's like this is the guy. And like, you need to understand that like what he says goes, so on and so on. And later on, like, I asked him once, I was like, you know, what's your strategy there? And he was like, I don't want to have to deal with these people. He's like, and they're never going to believe that, like, I don't have a say unless I just tell them that, like, you have the say. He's like, because I don't want to have to be in the meeting. I don't want them to second guess you. Like, you and I can have our own internal conversations and our own internal arguments. But to the outside world, your say is everything. Like, if you tell Ford we're not doing it, They don't need to come talk to me. Like, that's it. Like, you have that thing. And at the time, especially like at my age, because I was, I don't know, 31, 32 at the time, like, it felt like such a massive power to have that. And like, I think about like that simple thing that he did was such a setup for me to like take a confidence of like, all right, this dude's putting me on. Like, he's the one who's vouching for me in front of all these people to kind of go do that. And, you know, I look back at it now, it's like it gave me a confidence that allowed me to do things that I probably previously I wouldn't have tried to do because I would have thought I would have failed. But he was just like, you got this.
Yeah.
You got this. You can figure it out. And I know Ken was that way with you too, where it's like, I don't know, figure it out. I mean, I still don't think you know how to use a camera, but you got some of the best shots ever in Gymkhana. I don't know how, and you figured it out.
Don't say that too loud. It'll make people hate me.
No, it's because, and I love it so much because I'm not a person who loves the tech side of cameras. And then this sounds like corny filmmaker shit, but like, you understand the emotion of a camera, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people can sit there and they can talk to you about shutters, and they can talk to you about, you know, why you want to run this with this aspect ratio and this frames per second, and why this vignettes and what anamorphic does. And you're like, I don't know any of that.
And then I'm just like, cool story.
Yeah. And you just get the shot. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and like, there's something there that just works. You can't really teach that. And I always told you that because I knew that you, as we grew up, there were more and more camera guys who knew way more than you. But I was like, you still always have a camera on set because like you understood that in a certain way.
I love filming. I love filming automotive stuff.
We totally tangent off the original.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Go ahead, just run it.
I love filming and I love filming automotive stuff, but I also think being around the nerds like Will Rogie and those guys who absolutely eat, sleep, breathe filmmaking. You know, I think just being around them helped me a lot too. It's like I may have not fully understood how the thing worked, but they definitely, you know, gave me an understanding of it. But yeah, I love being in the mud, catching the action. So gotta run it back one time just for the feels. Yeah.
Come on out. Or you could bring me out. I'll come off on one of your sets. So,
I don't remember
what's sort of next for you guys? Like, where does everything with Nappy Boy go? Like, what are your goals? Like you said before, you know, you never really fully understood what the Hoonigan goals were, which is weird. But for me, because I'm thinking, man, maybe I wasn't that clear about that kind of stuff. Because I think our goals were like weekly.
I knew what our goals were as a brand, but I didn't know what the goal was as the company.
Right.
If that makes sense. You know, so I don't
know if I really did either.
For sure. But like I said, I was just heads down and support. Like whatever I don't whatever Brian wants to do, we're doing. Like that's just how I operated, you know. It's just, you know, I always tell myself it's like I was what's the word that I use? Blindly loyal. You know, I didn't look outside of the scope. I just was like, Brian wants to do this. He says this. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And you know, there's ups and downs to that.
For sure. It's also it's basically the definition of a cult. So maybe that was already my chapter.
I already told you had a cult. I was talking about Hoonigan. I don't know if you picked up on that, but
so are you saying that the people who worked at Hoonigan were the cult, or the viewership fan base was a cult?
The people. You were the cult leader. No one creates Hoonigan if it's not you. Like no one gets what you got out of these people if it's not you. I don't know if you understand. I don't know if you understand that. But you have the gift of gab. You talked your way through so much shit and made us believe no matter what, everything was this and that, and we did it.
And you went through different generations of it. Like, I you know, this is maybe too personal of a conversation for us to have on a podcast, but whatever. We're over an hour in at this point. No one's listening anymore. You know, you went through me trying to figure out how to be a leader in that world. Because I remember, like, in the beginning, like, I would lose my temper. Like, I would lose my, like, cool. I would be yelling and screaming. By the end, I wasn't that person anymore. Like, I came out this other end of it and became way more calm.
Well, it's funny because people like Ron would come to me and be like, who's this? Who's this version? When did you guys get this update?
Because I'd be mellow.
Yeah.
Because he remembers 0 to 60, which was even more. Like I was in 0 to 60, I was a movie character. Like I was throwing shit, yelling, screaming. I once threw a chair to like almost through the window. Like I was full on like a bad movie of like, you know, a guy who wasn't really like didn't know how to be in charge. And then by the end I kind of calmed down. Ashley calmed me down a bunch. She definitely
Shout out Ashley.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like you definitely went through all those different phases of it. So all to make you just better at your job now. So anyway, answer the goal question. What are your guys' goals?
I mean, just how you said, you know, we all operated spazzy because like the goalpost moved a lot, right? So, you know, currently, I think main focus now that we've done a nice run of touring is just starting to build up a solid YouTube rapport, you know? So it's like we've done the event coverage, but now I want to make some shows, you know? I think Payne and I have an undeniable chemistry.
Yep.
And I think there's a couple different show options we can do. I want to make him super uncomfortable. You know, he can afford private jets. I want him to drive a shitty car across country. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, I've been looking for limos for him.
We have two.
Oh, sick! You found them?
Yeah, we have two of them.
Nice.
It sucks.
Like I realized down that dinner when we started talking about like weird limos, I was like,
Bro.
oh shit, Payne and I have more in common than I thought.
Everyone listening to this, I texted this to Scotto. I said, you meeting Payne is the worst thing to ever happen to me. This is the worst thing to ever happen to me because Payne has a lot of wild ideas and obviously the money to fuel them. And I feel like it's funny because, you know, he tells me just money doesn't matter. Spend the money. And I like to, you know, no, I'm going to do it. You know, I want to do it this way.
Well, at Hoonigan, we were very aware of the money because there wasn't as much.
Yeah, right. And I don't want to, you know, I'm not just trying to spend money, you know, unless there's a great idea behind it that we need to, you know, build or whatever. But Scotto is definitely not somebody I need over here. I don't need it. But the goals currently is like, you know, the industry is not that different no matter where you look, right? You know, we have ourselves as the brand entities. We sell merch, we go to events, we make YouTube videos and things like that. But I mean, the goal definitely is to, one, I think, build a really fun event series, you know, where we hop around and have some really cool events. And then just build some really cool YouTube shows that revolve around, one, our chemistry, but also bringing in old friends, new friends, and things like that. So
how was the event you guys did up in the Milwaukee area? You guys did the Wisconsin. Yeah,
Wisconsin State Fair. So that was basically every year Payne has done Wisconsin Fest, which is his music festival that he has at the Rave in Milwaukee. And I mean, I think it's 4 years now and it's sold out all 4 years. And we decided, let's open it up with an event, you know? So that was our third event that we...
What is his connection to that? What's the background there for him?
The song.
Okay, that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had the song, and then he started having a festival there, and it went crazy. They gave him an official T-Pain day there and everything, and so it's just a relationship that they built. And so that's definitely going to be the home of it all the time, you know? So now we're trying to add a drift event element to it, or just an automotive event in general. I'd love for it to be more than just drifting, because I don't want us to just be a drifting company, you know?
Does Payne like? I know he likes cars. I know he likes supercars and stuff like that. But is he interested in more things on the motorsports side than drifting, or does he just really kind of stick to drifting?
No, he's definitely interested in doing more. I think we both are. You know. He's getting drifting down. He's feeling good there. But I think where the fun really starts for us is when we are on the same level in a new sport. You know, so like when we go to rally school together, the competition between us.
That's a show right there.
Yeah, you know, so when we go to rally school together and the competition between us, or we go to grip school or whatever it is, like we're on the same level. So it's like a buddy, you know, competition show, learning how to do all this stuff. And I think that's really going to change the landscape for us, is when we're not showing what we're already good at. We're you get to see us grow into either being not really good at something or you know, finding a new passion.
Do you remember going to Glamis, me, you, and Vinny, and like we were jumping stuff, and you're like, I don't know how to jump things, and we're like, well, like we grew up riding BMX, and even though we had never done that in UTVs, the concept of jumping something was there.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm just going to do donuts, and then you rolled it.
I think I probably can find the picture of.
Send it over.
I could probably find the picture of it rolled over. I think I have a video of me doing donuts.
And you were just laughing hysterically in it too, which is great.
I have a video for sure of me doing donuts with cacao in the Can-Am. Remember when I flipped that on the intersection? The day we got it.
Do you remember Brad rolled the 4-seater right after we put the carbon roof on it, bringing it into the shop?
Oh, basically off the dock or whatever. Yeah. Oh, Bradley.
That dude, do you remember Travis Clark, the agent?
Yeah.
He rolled it on the set. Like, I was like, hey, can you move that?
Yeah.
And he got in it and rolled it from a standstill.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before. And he raced Baja.
Yeah, off-road's scary, man. Do you remember me riding with Jason Ellis?
Jason Ellis is a madman.
He's psychopath.
I'm sorry I made you do that.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
He had so much joy.
Yeah, scaring you.
Yeah.
It wasn't driving. He was enjoying making you scared.
I've never seen somebody.
He was hard. He got fully erect on that.
I've never seen someone genuinely pull someone's soul out. And, and being like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. That was a gnarly moment. Shout out Jason too. I haven't seen him in a minute, but
he's doing all right. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah. But
I spoke to him recently. So, man, it's so for you guys, I'm interested in the event stuff because I think that was always the next frontier. I always wanted to do more events. We obviously did burn yard stuff, but I always wanted to kind of do something more. And I feel like there's a bunch of great events out. And I don't want to name anyone because I think a bunch of people are doing a really good job and stuff. But it seems like automotive events have oddly plateaued in an era when I don't think car culture has been more peak than it is right now in terms of mainstream consumption of it. And there doesn't seem to be an event that really services that. I think Grid Life is the closest, but I still think like there's so much room, and I think it takes someone like a T-Pain to bring that to it. Like I don't think two people John and James randos can just go make an event. I think like you guys have a unique space where you speak to one side of automotive, like he speaks to a side of pop culture that can bring that together. So to me, that's very interesting for you guys.
That's exactly, it's funny. I feel like we had this conversation internally too. It's like, because, I go into meetings for our events and I'm just talking about the drivers. I'm like, I know, I want to make sure the drivers have a great experience and a lot of this and that. And he's on the other end of it, the spectators and the overall entertainment aspect of the event.
Yep.
And we just, work on blending those things.
Total tangent, but we'll jump over to this. And by the way, we haven't actually gotten to any of the things I wanted to ask you, but it's fun. It's good to catch up. It has been a while. Although people, I asked Vinny and Ron this question. Do people often ask you about everybody else at Hoonigan? Like, because I think everyone thinks we still don't talk. Like everyone feels like, well, now that you're not on YouTube anymore, you clearly must not be friends. You must not chat. You must not talk anymore. And like Vinny was like, I talk to her like once a week, once every other week via text, like you and I text. Like
I don't think that people directly ask me like, oh, how's such and such or la la la, but it's often a, hey, loved Hoonigan, loved what you guys did, stoked to see you, et cetera, like doing this stuff. Keeping up with all you guys is awesome. And I mean, I've signed a handful of driver's era stuff.
I get tagged in their stuff all the time. I'm like, it's not my company. But cool. Like I support it.
Yeah, no,
it's cool.
I mean, dude, it's undeniable what Vin is doing. Like that dude is absolutely killing it.
Yeah. Which is funny because he was the one in the last year who was like, when Hoonigan's over, I'm not going to be on-screen talent. I don't want to do this. I just want to do ads. I just want to do biz development.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this part. It's useless for my career. And then
he didn't believe in himself.
He's the one churning it every week.
He essentially didn't believe in himself. And some things made him see the light, and now he's an actual demon. He's
done great. Obviously, Jolly's got a great vision and helps him with all that. So I think that's been... No, I'm stoked to see everybody kind of going on and doing their new things and doing different stuff. It's like cool to see that. I know everybody's been begging for like a reunion of all of us, and maybe this is the drag race thing you set up. So
I just want to get smoked.
Y'all want to put some money on it?
I don't have any money. I still don't have any money. Nothing.
Well, you trying to get rid of cars so you can put a car on it, bro.
That's crazy. We can talk. I would love to take that from you.
With a Ferrari?
No, come on. Put up the RW. That's the only car I'd race you pinks for.
How about my 8.6 for your 8.6?
Nah, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. The only car I'd ever race you for pinks is your Porsche. That's the only one.
Car versus car, but like, what car would you race me in that? It's got to be.
I'd make it fair. I'd make it fair.
FDRX7.
How much power does that make?
400.
Yeah, I can
weighs
race
like
you.
2,600.
I can race you in the FD. I'd put pinks on that.
What's in the FD these days?
Just a little 2-rotor, 1.3 liter, nothing crazy.
We ain't racing for pinks, but we can race. That's like, I always tell people, like, if that car is for sale, check on me because something bad happened in my life. Like, that's a forever car.
That's
because even though it's worth a ton, I didn't buy it for a ton, so like it still just feels.
What
like
is that
cool
worth
car.
now?
I don't even want to say out loud.
Like 300.
I thought 250, and then I started talking to some people, and it's definitely north of 350. Yeah, like I've actually had people offer me more than that, and I delete the DMs because like I just don't want it to be real. Right. Because like it's dumb for me not to sell it. Like that type of money right now would pay off mortgages, do all that. So like yeah. Hopefully my wife's not listening to this podcast. So, but anyway, yeah. So no, I think an event thing would be super rad to see.
Yeah, as far as goals go, I think that's a big thing for us. Is definitely having events. It never was really in my spectrum to want to throw events. That's a pain thing, but after now doing 3 events, I see it and I feel it too. You know, it definitely feels fulfilling putting on something that 1 you're proud of, 2 that people go home and tell people, I went to this thing, you didn't go, you're stupid for not going. You know, that type of stuff.
So let me ask you a question on drifting, and I'm curious because Will and I have this conversation all the time. I feel like an outsider in drifting. It never was my hobby, but because I was so involved in it from the business side and the content side of Hoonigan and so connected with all of you guys, like I have a very intimate knowledge of it. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like I know all the nuance and all the whatever, but like it wasn't my passion the way it was for all of you guys. But that didn't stop me from wanting to improve it, change the way that it was talked about, do all these different things. But you and Will feels different to that. Will's like, you've been in this for so long that you're basically a part of it. Like you created pathways for it, even if you weren't there as a driver. Like you still saw this in a different way. But this is I have to be careful because I'm under NDA. But you know about the project I'm working on, and there's a conversation around a drift course in it, and I brought up the idea of adding a bunch of like elements to it, like how we would in Gymkhana Grid. And I think that there's this conversation of like, well, that's not done in drifting. And meaning like, like in a Gymkhana Grid, we'd have like, a plane like hung that you would slide underneath, or like something you would hit that would like hit a dunk tank and do all of that. Do you think there's a place for that in drifting, or do you think that moves too far from what the OG kind of like toge drift was and it becomes too gimmicky? But like, or do you think that there is a world for it? There's
no one way of drifting, right? You got the toge rats, you got the track rats, you got the street guys. Like there's no one. You
got the full just competition level,
full comp, pro-am comp guys. Yep. Like there's no one version of drifting. It just kind of depends on what you're seeking there. So like a gimmick like that I don't think is a bad thing on the scope. With the scope of the event in mind. Right. So what's the scope of the event? That allows you to do more. If it's a grassroots core, just a purist style event, that's one thing. But if you're putting on a show for people, spectators or, viewers, whatever, those are elements that can make a mediocre drift event into an amazing drift event to the naked eye. Yeah. Because like,
I agree. I 100% agree.
As a driver, and this is what I'm learning, like blending my style and Payne style into an event. Like as a driver, I don't fucking care if there's a semi truck in the middle of the track that I have to go under. Like it doesn't change the track for me. I'm gonna power through that section and just like I would if it wasn't there. Yep. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I
but
think Mad Mike brought that first.
Yeah,
right,
with drift shifters.
And I thought that was phenomenal. And when that
drift shifters was awesome.
When that first came, I'm like, this is the future of
Yeah.
it. And then it just didn't really catch on outside of what Mike did. And I don't know if people were either trying not to copy what he was doing or just the expense and the cost of
that's
adding
what it is.
it in.
That's what it
value
is.
to it.
Well, that's 100% what it is, because like you talking about that element isn't necessarily going to sell more tickets to your event. You know what I mean? Like after they see it and you do it,
it's the FOMO. Then when people are like, "Oh, that looks crazy." Yeah. They had pyro.
But the initial might not make or break your event. You know, so it's just people not wanting to do the spend. Drift events are expensive.
Yeah,
renting a track and coordinating everything, like a lot of times you're lucky you break even. You know what I mean? So it's just like being in a position to do that and build it, because you have to slum it out to get to that. Grid Life didn't start overnight. Grid Life has been around for 15 years. Their events at Michigan now are a lot bigger than they were, in the early days, so.
I sat down about 6 months ago and I took out a piece of paper and I just wrote like a list of things I want to do in my life, right? And one of the reasons was after I left Super Plastic, I was in this like weird situation where like I had to make money instantly because I had like nothing left in savings after buying the farm, and I still had a mortgage on this and the farm, and as the whole Hoonigan thing went south and most of my money went.
What do you mean?
And
what are you talking about?
So it was one of those like I had to go make money and I had to go do that, and that meant that I had to like take. And I don't want to say work I didn't want to work on because it was stuff I enjoyed doing, but it wasn't like my passion, right? It was like consulting work and stuff like that. And I only try to work with companies I like working with. And same thing for this podcast. Like my rule was like I only want to work with partners that like I actually know these people and I like them, because I don't want to promote someone's brand I don't know. Sure. We got into like in Hoonigan early days, we worked with brands we knew. There was definitely an era where we were just like slinging stuff and like that sucked. It didn't feel good, right? So, I wanted to do that, but I was sitting there thinking like, what are the things I want to do in life, right? And like obviously, like top of the list is like start a cult, right? Like obviously start a cult, maybe another cult. Number two.
Another cult is the right. You already started.
Yeah. Number two was podcasting. I enjoyed this.
You've always wanted to do this.
We never did it. I mean, I did that one quick show.
Yeah.
I did the one quick show that was on Spotify, right? That I did with Ron Baugh. And it went one season. But like everyone called it Scotto's Folly. Because like it just no one else wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do it. I enjoyed it. It was something I liked. I like podcasts. It's what I listen to.
It's what you digest.
It's what I digest because I don't really have time for the visual side of everything. I enjoy the audio, although video podcasting is where everything's moving. And I enjoy this. I enjoy the conversation. Like this is not performative for me. Like I'm enjoying the conversation with you right now, and we probably wouldn't have a chance to have this conversation otherwise, right? So it's like I
podcast gives a reason for
it gives the reason, right?
Yeah.
But so the podcast was one, but then the other two things that were on there, one was fix Hollywood, not like the whole thing, but the automotive side of it. I think car chases and everything in Hollywood are just absolute trash. I think they've really lost the plot of like what makes cars look good on camera, and that is something I want to go do. Obviously, I'm working my way towards that. I'll tell you about another thing that's going on after this. But the other one of it is Save Motorsports, and I realize it's like both of those are like really, really, really big concepts, and I'm being kind of a bit ridiculous.
Cultish.
What?
Sounds awfully cultish, but
like,
please elaborate.
I'm purposely being hyperbolic in the way that I say it, but like I can't help but look at motorsports and realize that racing has an entertainment problem, right? And when I say racing, I include drifting, I include everything, any kind of competition level vehicle. It's like they have an entertainment problem. You know what doesn't have an entertainment problem? Supercross, Monster Jam, like these guys understand entertainment. Like they get that right. I think F1's figuring it out a little bit more now, and they're leaning into the storylines and the soap opera of it all. But I can't help but look at drifting and go, where does drifting go next, right? Where does some of these like forgotten, spaces like Indy and like all these places, like how do they get a new audience when their audience dies? Like how do they bring in that new thing? And so much of it is like creating a platform where it's entertaining to go there, right? And it's more about like it really makes an experience feel different. And I it's something I think a lot about. I obviously haven't really kind of put it to action, but whether it's like talking to, you know, Cole and like he's got some stuff coming up. Maybe I shouldn't talk about that because I'm probably under NDA. But like there's a bunch of stuff like that. And I think it's interesting because when I hear that your guys are going to do, you know, that type of thing, I'm like, man, you guys have that opportunity. Like maybe you could hire me. Wouldn't that be a great change? Wouldn't that be a weird flip?
You know, I would hire you for a day.
Bro,
that'd be so fun.
I don't know if I could get that much revenge in 24 hours. They're actually one of my favorite albums is Jawbreaker's 24-Hour Revenge Therapy. I now understand what that means. I got 24 hours to get all of my revenge back
Oh,
out.
You think you're going to get the revenge?
Oh, I'm getting the revenge.
I thought you were talking about me.
Nah, bro. Nah.
That's crazy work.
Yeah. It's hard. Yo, when you're, it's
I was a great employee.
Is it time for a commercial break?
There's no way.
You were a great friend. Sometimes you were a great employee, but you were
That's
a lot.
crazy.
You were a lot at times. You were a lot.
We were a lot.
We were all a lot.
Yeah.
We were a group of a lot.
Yeah.
We definitely were a lot. We were doing too much at sometimes. Yeah. So no, but anyway, jokes aside, like I think you guys have the pieces it takes to make it happen because you need someone who has the weight of pain to go do it. And someone like you who has, and I'm going to wrap this all around to what my original thing I wanted to make this podcast about, an understanding of style to make it cool. Because I think that is something that often gets lost. I'm not going to name other people in the celebrity world, but there's a lot of celebrities who've tried to do big car shows, and I just don't think that they land. Except for Rick Ross, like the Rick Ross car show.
Have you been?
I haven't been. Did you go?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of it in person?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, really? See, because online for like the donk community,
online it looks nice.
For the donk community and like for that like community, has never really had a pinnacle event. It seems really, really cool.
I don't think it's a bad car show, but I don't like for what he is.
It should be.
I think it should be more.
They do a very good job then of packaging it because to me it felt like hip hop's Goodwood Festival speed.
Yeah, no, it has a lot of potential for sure. It's a massive car show, but I think for who he is and how much money he has, I think it could be a lot different or should be a lot different.
Well, then it gives you guys now, granted, that's not your lane.
Yeah,
that's not your lane. But I think no matter what, though, I think it's really good to look at how people do things in other spaces.
Yeah, to
say like, how does that translate over? Right?
Sure,
like,
100%.
Like, how do you do a version of that for drifting? And I think like,
dude,
and track cars and like just our audience of people.
We were on pace because like Wisconsin State Fair was a feeler. We got screwed by the original venue. And we lost a month and a half to promote this event. And, and we didn't have another event locked in until a month and a half. So we couldn't plan what we were doing because we didn't know where we were doing it, right? So we didn't have a lot of time to really dial in that event. But we were planning an event at the end of October. We put a hold on the track. We were figuring out the contract and all this stuff. And then the track calls us one day and tells us we can't have our event because they booked one the day before and the day after, even though we had our hold since January, and we're figuring out, actively talking to them about the contract. And they're just like, yeah, sorry, maybe try next year.
That sucks.
Yeah. And it's just like, and that one that was going to be our big nut. You know what I mean? Can I say that? Is that
yeah. You can say whatever. It's his job to bleep it. So.
Yeah. So that one was going to be our big nut. And I was really excited to like really dive in and go in on all these things we're talking about, how to level up an motorsports event in general, and just like from, having a bit of a car. I'm not like, it's not that I don't care about car shows. I love car shows. I love walking around and looking at what people are doing, but there's also a lot of car shows going around, So I'm not
It helps create the vibe though.
Yeah. I'm not trying to have just a standard car show though. We're trying to elevate all the elements of a motorsports event, and the venue pulled it out from under us. So we're still going to plan, and build what that looks like, but having the venue and the purpose, the date definitely gives it a lot more motive,
I'm trying to create something like that on the small level. But I've been paying so much attention to like what everyone else is doing because like nowadays, like cars and coffee is such a big thing that like why go to a car show? Like you just go to car, you go see a crazy cars at Cars and Coffee. So it's like it has to offer you more. It has to be a real experience. It can't just be walking to a parking lot. Yeah. So, which unfortunately is what I thought was kind of a little bit what the Rick Ross show was. Again, for like the donk community, but it's giving them a reason to build really cool stuff.
Definitely not speaking down on the show, and there are definitely some radical builds, guys building gnarly donks, and you know, and
that Brown Sugar and Bobby Brown.
I love to see. I love to see that car culture kind of bridge the gap into just automotive media. You know what I mean? Because like donks and bubbles and that general culture has always had a hard time breaking the mold and like being seen.
I watched that whole show on Beto's channel on the gas.
Oh really? Yeah, that's funny.
Which is great because I watch their stuff and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You guys kind of just like stole the Hoonigan vibe. Like it's working for you. Like I like it. I like it. Like I mean, well,
a couple of people who, I mean, like we were so early in what we were doing. Yeah. I mean, you know, there are a bunch of people that we've brought on our show
that have created their own things.
Doing stuff, you know, because
and by the way, I said stole. I don't mean it that way. I mean like they've vamped it, you know, like they took a version of it, made it their own.
We were doing Burnyard before Garrett Cletus was doing Cletus and Cars.
Do you
know
remember
what I mean?
What he said?
I 100% remember.
What did he say? What did he say? Say it. Because
you know, maybe this is not verbatim, but he looked us in the eyes and was like, "I'm doing this."
Yeah, when he was done with, because he came to the event, and that was when he brought Leroy out, right when that was like still new and like you know. And at the end, he was like, "I'm gonna do this idea."
Yeah,
which was like so honest. He was just like, "I'm gonna take this idea and go
and now he has the biggest Burnyard style show imaginable, and he does it every month, and it's nuts. Yeah, like he's built a fucking empire.
We missed an opportunity there, and that was.
But that's because we were just different goals, dude. Yeah. Like.
If COVID didn't happen, I wonder though, because I
was going to ask you that question on here.
6 or 7 Burnyards in a row at Irwindale, cracking out 5,000 a pop, which like is pretty good for that.
I actually was going to ask you, what do you think Hoonigan is if COVID doesn't happen? Because like that was a momentum halter. That halted our momentum.
We were moving.
Yeah,
like we were booking. But I also think there was an element of like we were kind of being torn apart too. Like I think there was so much work at the time, that like it may have burned us out.
I mean,
like COVID might have been okay,
and that carries on the conversation that I was, you know, just right now with thinking about Cletus and you know his events and things like that. It's just like what Cletus is building and what he's doing isn't what Hoonigan was trying to build.
No.
They're separate. Like if we were a grassroots company and the idea wasn't to sell and our ecosystem was us, I think we definitely could have, done something like that. But that just wasn't our goal.
I don't know. In the end, you realize like that wasn't the move. But this is gonna. I don't know. This episode, I don't know. Are we on track on this episode? Are we all over the place? Yeah, we're good.
My ride's gonna be here in 5 minutes.
Wait, did you call that before?
No. So. No, it's
like, did you like plan an escape? Oh, because like, if so, you have matured and grown in a way that I am most proud that you have actually planned an extraction.
I don't want to.
You planned an extraction to get out of this podcast.
You're going too far.
Because you know I don't want to.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but it's all Raquel. I don't.
Oh, she took care of it all. She got you planned.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair.
I appreciate you.
She also knows me.
I appreciate you giving me that.
Yeah. But, she's like, they'll be just sitting there talking for hours. Okay, I want to hit you with a couple last things because this was brought up. So you and I just chatted the whole time, but there's this other concept I have for another podcast I want to do called firing order, and it's basically creating lists of different things. I tested it in the first episode with Vinny and Ron, and the question we had, I wanted to keep it something simple so we could get through it pretty quickly, but the question was what was the top 3 cars we ever built at Hoonigan? So I have the final answer from them. So I can either ask you for your top 3, and these are the company cars. So it's not personal cars and not Ken cars. Not Ken cars. Yeah, that's because then it's easy. Then it's basically just Hoonicorn, Hoona Truck, Hoona Pig is probably the top 3.
Okay.
But But no, so it's the cars we built. So like, you know, the Rolls, the Camaro, Knucklebusters E36, Shark Cart, like whatever, right? Top 3 cars. What's your list?
They have to be in order. Like,
You could give them to me you could give them to me, however. I'm curious how close you are to what we debated about to land on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The Donk, shit car. Let's see, what do we have? You said Shark Cart, the
Shark Cart, Scumbug, Rolls Royce, Warthog, Lightning, 632 Camaro, the Indy car thingy, the Ridgeline with the Indy car rear on it, Colmaro. I mean, there's a bunch of like lower level things like the C8 build or whatever. Those were kind of nothing, but like of the more major builds. Okay, so you got shit car, Donk.
It would have to be between.
Narrow it down.
It'd have to be between the IndyCar and the 632.
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure which one. Probably lean towards the 632 because we had more access to it.
Right. Yeah. The thing that sucked out the IndyCar was we weren't allowed to drive it.
Yeah, we had no access to it. But that was a gnarly build. Warthog too, though. But again, we didn't really. I mean, that was for somebody else essentially, right? Because we didn't keep.
Yeah, we just gave it to it. That was for Microsoft for it. Yeah. So Microsoft Halo.
I hate to pick 2 V8 cars, you know, like
that's all right,
you know, but the 632 Camaro was really cool.
Well, I actually realized something when we were doing this before. I didn't bring it up, but Hoonigan never did a Japanese car build.
Yeah,
because all the personal builds, other than mine, everyone was building Japanese cars, so we didn't need to. Like we had to offset it with a lot of the American cars because internally we weren't really building American cars.
Yeah,
like you, Vinny, Ron, Dan. Like you guys were all building Japanese cars.
Yeah. Yeah. So Donk, shit car.
Okay.
It's hard not to pick Shark Cart too, you know?
That's fine. So
like if we're going lower, like Shark Cart should be on there. You know what I mean? Like strictly lower. But
you gotta pick all the things. The quality of it, the lore of it, the fun of it.
All right, you know what? All right, then. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Shit car, 1. Donk, 2. Shark Cart, 3.
Okay. So here's the list that we came up with. Rolls, number 1. Donk, number 2. Shit car, number 3. So 2 of the 3 you're on. Rolls wasn't on your list? You drove the living shit out of that thing in Atlantic City. Didn't you explode the transmission on that thing?
The transmission broke every time it was driven.
Yeah.
Every time. It's a cool car.
It came pre-broke.
It's not that it came pre-broke. I think at the era of that car, it didn't. I don't think it meant that much to the brand.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that meant more than the cars that I've listed to the brand.
So I'll give you their individual list because how we did it was everyone did their 3 and then we went through it. So Ron was Donk, Rolls, Indy, right? Okay. Vin was 632 Camaro, Rolls, shit car. Mine was Donk, Shark Cart, Scumbug. Because even though I think that shit car was more important to the brand as an identity, Shark Cart served a longer span, was actually way more fun to drive. The amount of people who learned how to slide a car around, like I think the first car like I had done figure eights in was Shark Cart. Like that was one of those vehicles that like everybody had fun driving it. And it went from being a car we hated, which was the $200 Miata, and actually made it kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, and it also lived, every single mechanic who ever worked at Hoonigan worked on it. So Darnall started the build. Dan took it from there, and then Soupy, it lived the life where we never ruined it. We ruined shit car. Off-road shit car.
Not we.
I know you were against it from day one. I know you were.
I should have put an asterisk on shit car. That
shit car was 4th of July shit car.
Yeah,
that was like ultimate peak shit car. Yeah, that was all right. Yeah, so I mean I guess all right. So Donk and Shit Car are definitely up on the list. I just think like Shark Cart wasn't like good looking, but it was certainly fun.
Shit Car is obviously lore. I mean, I feel like that car started a brand, really started a brand with that car. Oddly, it did a lot for us.
If you looked at Hoonigan and you just talked about the story of Shit Car and Indy truck, I think like you could just talk about where we started, where we ended up, and like maybe some of the mistakes made. Because if you think about it, Shit Car was a attainable $500 build that we made look stylish with very little money, and everyone got to drive it. Like everyone drove it. If you came to the building, you got to drive it, including the Domino's delivery guy.
Yeah. Wow.
And the
memories.
And the Indy car, no one got to drive except for a professional race car driver. That if that doesn't say everything about where we started and where we ended.
Yeah, I mean, things like the IndyCar and the Rolls Royce, I think reflect where I was at Hoonigan, and where I just was like, that had nothing to do with us. Soupy had his gang, and those boys did the thing, and like we weren't really a part of it.
It was crazy that they let us do it, but it definitely didn't have like the initial soul of like what we were doing.
Yeah,
to me, Donk was. I will be the first to say it was this. It was like the emotional support project during the pandemic. It was the one time a week we all got to get together, like go deal with all that shit.
The Donk I think is cool. Obviously it's a Donk, big blower out the hood, sounded crazy. The custom, those BB or rotiform,
BBS reps.
But the whole idea of the Donk, no one on the main stage of automotive YouTube was building Donks. So it's like not only was it cool, but like breaking that mold and educating people and watching you kind of lead a build and really be a part of the build too.
You and I both learned to weld on that project too, which was cool.
Yeah, we got welders. Shout out Miller. It's your podcast. I don't know if
you can shout out Miller. Right. I don't have a welding partner, but I still have Miller equipment.
So shout out Miller. Cool. Yeah, we got welders. We learned how to weld a little bit.
You still got a partnership with them?
No.
Oh, all right.
No. That was just a friendly. It was just a friendly thing. But that project, it was a really good time. I thought we got to do some cool shit. It eventually got taken out of our hands, but like we got to do some stuff, and then obviously Shark Car for the Lord, just how you said. It went through all the paces, which is and I mean, like the Cacao story with the thing and stuff like that. You got to get Cacao on here. If you have Cacao on here, can I be a co-guest?
Yeah, you can come back for that. Next time you come back, we'll do that.
Yeah,
Cacao would be good.
Yeah, I would love to be on a podcast with Cacao. That'd be hilarious. But
the only thing is it has to be a video podcast because he won't reply. He'll just look at you. Because he won't talk. He'll just give you that look and be like.
He'll talk if I kiss him on the cheek.
He does love that.
Yeah,
he does love that.
Yep, it's a good little cheek kiss.
All right, dude. I really appreciate you coming in.
Honestly, I wish we had more time.
I know, but you have to catch a flight, and I ain't trying to catch the wrath of Raquel for you not getting home. So, So anyway, I mean, thanks for coming by, catch up. I mean, at a certain point, I feel like we were just talking. It's like, not even a podcast.
We'll run it back. I'm sure.
What I'd love to have you come back on is an episode of Firing Order, and one of the ones I want to do is the greatest wheels of all time. Okay. So, like, obviously, it's BBS RSs.
Who are you talking to?
And then after that,
wait, what do those look like again?
They don't look like thrust masters or whatever. Thrust. What was it? Torque thrust. They don't look like torque thrusts. KFs.
Thrust masters. This guy's horny. I'm down.
Unimportant. I don't even remember it.
I think that's crazy. You know.
No, when you're back, let's plan a day because I think we'll get everybody in here. We can do a couple of the because I need your like just absolutely blatant biases in a fight on wheels.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that'd be a good. We'll do the best wheels of all time.
Yeah.
So, thank you, sir. Appreciate it all.
Good to see you, man.
And big thanks to our partners, obviously Vyper chairs, which I've been sitting on for the past 2 hours. Pretty mellow. Do you have any Vyper chairs?
Yeah, I do.
They're great.
I love Vyper guys, man.
They're like the team is really good, and the quality of their stuff is great. And and they came on to support this, which is awesome. Heatwave glasses. Actually, I'll be honest. I mostly wear their safety glasses because I never really was a sunglass guy, but I like actually having safety glasses that don't look corny, which is like kind of nice because I'm on camera.
I mean, you're always cutting stuff. Brad the Builder is always.
See, that's a side that a lot of people don't know. Yeah. The old Brad the Builder days, or just making stuff out of whatever.
If he's not cutting, he's not happy. No.
And obviously FCP Euro and my longtime friends at Toyo Tires. Thanks again. And yeah, check out the Patreon, all that good stuff. And thanks again, dude.
Good to see you.
The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So you probably know these guys best for their killer shop stools. I'm sitting on one right now. But Vyper Industrial also makes an amazing shop cart. You're thinking right now, how amazing of a shop cart do I need? You need one this amazing. It holds over 1,200 pounds. I've seen people rebuild engines on them. It has fantastic wheels, just like their stools. They're massive 8-inch casters. It's got this smart modular system. They make holders for everything from hammers to polishers. You can set it up for a bunch of different things, from detailing to wrenching, or running your podcast, which is exactly what we're going to do with it here on Very Vehicular. Anyway, I've said it before. I love these guys. They run a great company made here in the USA. So go support them. After all, they do support us. By now, you should have picked up on a theme. All of the partners that we're working with here at Very Vehicular are partners that I've worked with before. And quite frankly, not only do I like their product, but I like the people who work there. Heatwave, especially being one of them. Look, first off, I don't wear sunglasses all the time, but these guys make an amazing sunglass. What I do wear a lot of more, safety glasses, and they make cool looking safety glasses that don't make you look lame. And also something that's really important to me is that their founder, he's one of us. He is a bona fide car dork. He's out racing. He builds really cool, fun cars. And they also support our scene. They sponsor a bunch of great drivers, from Darren Parsons to Travis Pastrana, Blake Wilkie, the whole group. Go give them a look, because not only are they supporting the scene, they're supporting the show, and they make it happen. All right, here's a little secret. The first project car of my professional career dates all the way back to 2004, and it still doesn't run. But that has nothing to do with the tires that are on it. You see, Toyo Tires was the first sponsor I ever had in anything I did, all the way back to 0 to 60. They're on all of my cars. I use their tires for everything, and I love them. They're great. So whether you need a tire for your track car, your daily, or your off-road truck, Toyo's got you covered. They have for me for, oh my God, 20 plus years.